So summary of the third night of the Democratic National Convention. Look, Barack Obama was fantastic. We analyzed that at length. Kamala Harris felt a little flat after Obama. It was a tough act to follow. A couple of people hit Trump here and there. Elizabeth Warren did. Nancy Pelosi did, but she mainly hit Mitch McConnell, which I'm glad she did. I even gave Nancy Pelosi a couple of positive comments in our live coverage, also some negative comments. Okay, and Obama hit Trump a little bit. There was a couple of policy points about paid family leave. Obama talked about the Recovery Act and how Biden led it. I don't really believe that Biden led anything when they were in the White House, but that's okay. It's okay. He's giving him credit. He gave him credit while they were doing it. So, fair enough to bring it up here. And he said, if anybody knows how to get people back to work, we do. That's a super fair point. And one of the reasons why Obama's speech was great. And that's going to be the main takeaway, no question about it. And Hillary Clinton, one of the members said that she was stiff and fake as usual. I actually didn't think so. I think even though she's still angry past the election, and we talked about that on the live coverage as well, she feels more relaxed to me. Like, I got nothing left to lose. So let me tell you, I really can't stand that Trump guy. Okay, you really, really need to vote. So for everybody else saying vote, 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 show me why I should vote. When Hillary Clinton says vote, I'm like, yeah, that's a good point. So now, having said that, Michael, overall, it's just still too much of a nothing burger. And I'm preaching to the choir on this one to you because you have said often, and you said it earlier tonight, that these conventions don't matter much in swaying voters. But God, this one, I just feel like I don't know if it's because of coronavirus and the speeches are shorter, there's less speeches, but everybody's rushing through with platitudes, one or two good lines here or there, but overall it just feels so cavernous in its emptiness.
I mean, I'd see why you say that, but they typically are not full of policy. They're full of politics, and they're full of, getting the hall riled up and not getting involved in the minutia. The minutia is done by the platform committees earlier in the day and the week before, and they all gather. It is, and people forget this. It's a convention in the same way the American trial lawyers have a convention, or the Chevrolet car dealers have a convention. They go over policy, and they go over how the governance of their party, the governance of their committees that are broken off, and so there is a lot of the mundane there, and this stuff is the show. And I'm not apologizing for it. It is what it is at this point in America. The American political convention is exactly what we're seeing right now. And yeah, there are a lot of digs. There may be not even enough digs. You were saying, Cenk, on the live coverage that you think that they should have gone harder at Donald Trump. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. Everything that goes on in these primetime hours is so strategic. It's thought out from the very beginning. It doesn't make it right. It doesn't mean it's right strategy, but a coach comes in with a plan, and if it wins the game, then it was right. So I don't know. I know what you're saying, but you're not going to find a cure for that in a national convention from the Democrats or the Republicans, really.
Well, I'm going to disagree with that on two fronts in a second. But first, I've actually spoken at a car parts convention. So I know what you're talking about. I was paid to give that speech. I gave a speech about small business and how you can beat big business. And as it turns out, it was awesome, not because of the speech or the convention, but because the next speaker was Kurt Warner. And we had a blast in the green room. I'm like, I got to meet Kurt Warner. That's awesome. Okay.
Did it convert you?
No, and Kurt Warner is very religious, and I am certainly not. And Kurt Warner is conservative, and I'm not. But he's a lovely human being.
He's the nicest man in America, probably, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's Kurt Warner who goes out for dinner with his family. And whenever they go out for dinner, they anonymously buy dinner for another table at the restaurant. So, and if it's not Kurt Warner, somebody does that, and I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's Kurt Warner.
First of all, it was the pre-Trump era, so I didn't automatically look at anyone who's conservative with enormous scorn. Yeah. But look, if more conservative right-winger Christians could be like Kurt Warner, it'd be a better world. Anyways, now the reason I'm disagreeing, Michael, though, is about what you said, is because I remember the Bill Clinton speeches. He gave one here, it was shorter, but he still did it a little bit here in this context. But the great Bill Clinton speeches at the conventions, he would go through a lot of policy. And he would explain why it matters in your life. And he would explain what they did to make your life better through those policies. Actually, I'm not sure I've ever seen anyone do policy speeches, obviously with the possible exception of Bernie Sanders, better than Bill Clinton did. What you agree or disagree on his mechanics of execution in how he governed, but in those speeches, he would explain the policies brilliantly. And not every convention has to be boring. I guarantee you next week for the Republicans, they won't be boring. It'll be nuts.
I mean, whether or not they're boring is different than what I was really just addressing the notion of going down a laundry list of initiatives and ideas and legislative agenda. And you're right about Clinton, but he was always the exception at that because he was so good at it. He could make a laundry list of legislative ideas sexy in the way he was able to deliver it. And he even did that for Obama. If you'll recall, I guess it was in Charlotte in 2012, he came out for Obama and he went through it. So Obama didn't have to when he spoke the next night, and he did it brilliantly. Like he went through exactly what those things were supposed to have been. I know what you're saying. I'm not really arguing with you. I don't take these to be much more than what they are. I don't think anybody who's going into either a post office or a ballot box on November 3rd is going to think about what Nancy Pelosi or Elizabeth Warren said on August 18th in from their home. So that's what I mean. I don't think that anything's going to settle anything from this.
Yeah, I hear you. Last thoughts on this. Look, it's just that you got to give people a reason to vote for Biden, not just against Trump. Now, as it turns out in this election, you might not have to.
I was going to say you didn't have to in the primaries.
That's true, but Michael, we're all still shell-shocked from 2016. And that was a major mistake of Hillary Clinton's, that she did not give people much of a reason to vote for her. She mainly talked about voting against Trump. Now, after having survived 4 nuclear years of Trump, you would hope
it's different.
Yeah, that it's different and just voting against Trump is enough. It certainly is for me. And it is for a lot of our hardcore audience who are very progressive. Definitely enough. But it would be nice to also tell us what you're gonna do and how great it's gonna be, not just in platitudes, but a little bit better explanation of it. So if we're gonna put it this way, like if the conventions are one giant ad, which is exactly what they are now, this one is kind of a boring ad.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I think it's boring though, not because of the content as much as the circumstance. So, and I don't think there's any way around it. And I think they made it as unboring as they could in many spots, and they got some great speeches. And I think the roll call worked out well for them. And again, I don't want to overhype it. It won't matter.
Okay, all right, we'll end on that section on that. But before I get to the explosive 2024 topic, explosive, okay? I want to finally answer Ashkan's question that he asked last night, and he's right, I forgot to answer about Colin Powell. So, the essence of it is, what do we think about Colin Powell these days? Look, I'm happy to have him support Democratic presidential candidates like he did with Obama and now with Biden. And I don't mind him speaking at an RNC. The DNC. I'd prefer way more progressives, but it's okay. And he actually kind of get tricked into giving that UN speech by Cheney? Yes. Is that good enough? No. Well, it was your job not to get tricked by Dick Cheney, so that doesn't speak great of you.
So, by the way, you made sure that you were part of that administration, and you tried to be, and so whether or not you were reporting to Dick Cheney, part of that is on you anyway. So you just to have been in that position and not done anything about it, that's not an excuse.
Thanks for watching the Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.